Welcome everybody, it's Borino. Welcome to another live broadcast of our business tune-up. Oh, we're gonna have a good time. So the number you see on your screen, that's how you and I can chat live. Call 805-399-1200 and the code is 143153 and a pound. So let's turn on the live conference and a whole bunch of people already on the phones. That's fantastic. Welcome everybody. So now I just want to make sure we have a stream and it is good. You guys can see it on the website. Conference and a whole bunch of people already on the phones. That's fantastic. Welcome everybody. So now I just want to make sure we have a stream and it is good. You guys can see it on the
Q&A session started.
All right, we are in a Q&A mode. So let me turn the sound off here. Good. We are ready to rock and roll. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the official welcome. My name is Borino. If you and I never met and this is your first time with me, I'm really happy you're here. For my old friends and people that have been through my training, maybe you have in my Expert Plus, maybe you've been on my previous tune-ups, it's great to have you back. Welcome. We're streaming these live through our partner, through YouTube, through the media servers. You can see it on Listing University, and of course it will be recorded and posted to the Listing University. But here's the cool part. You saw the number on your screen. That means you and I can chat live. Whatever is on your mind today, I want to attack a problem or an issue or a circumstance or a situation or a difficult client or a marketing / prospecting / lead generation problem you're encountering right now that's holding you back. We are going into a busy season. Summer is almost here, minus the Colorado people, of course. Got some snow over the weekend, is that true? That was pretty crazy. But anyway, busy season is upon us. You see listings popping left and right here in my neighborhood. A whole bunch of listings just came on the market. And it's a good time to start really cranking it up so you can end up with a really nice summer with a lot of good leads, appointments, listings, commissions, and help a lot of people. Really do a good job for them. So we're going to stay on for about, 70, 80 minutes, 90 minutes, depending on what questions you have for me. So if you want to call in, you can also watch this live, of course, on the Listing University, on the link I sent you, and you can hear it over the teleconference service as well. There's a slight delay between the video broadcast, so if you do call in, there is a delay. You're going to hear me live, but the video and the audio feeding from the YouTube stream is about 60 seconds on delay, so just heads up for that. Okay, and with that, let's get started. I always like to start with a good book, and I have a good recommendation because some of the questions that I want to attack today deal with this. This is called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. This is one of the rare books that I actually have in a paperback. I picked it up at the airport because my iPad died, the battery died, and I didn't have a chance to charge. I wanted to read something good, and this was recommended. Really, really good read. If you feel like you need to develop more good habits, and of course we're going to focus on real estate, but this really applies to health, fitness, good life habits in general. Charles Duhigg deals a lot with the neuroscience behind it. What makes people tick? Why are habits so important? One of the most interesting things I picked up from the book is once a habit is formed, it stays within your brain, encoded in your brain forever. It never gets removed. That's both the good news and the bad news. Good news, if you have some good habits, you are in a habit of calling expired listings every morning for half an hour. Awesome. That habit tends to stay with you. The bad news is if you have some bad habits or not habits that are incorporated into your routines, then you may be in trouble. A lot of practical tips, not only why certain things work a certain way, how our brains work, but a lot of case studies and examples, what you can do immediately to change your habits, to get better habits going, so this way you have more leads, more appointments, and more listings. So good book, Charles Duhigg. Here we go, one more time. The Power of Habit. Highly recommended. Pick it up on Amazon. There is an ebook, of course. I have the hardcover. Really, really good. Good read for you. And Question for you, are you coming to DC? These are 2 tickets left that we have to the Presentation Plus Live. If you're having a hard time with the listing presentation, if you really want to crank it up a notch, if you want to deliver a confident presentation every time, you want to sit in front of the seller and just have a pleasant conversation for 20, 30 minutes, if you know exactly what to say, if you want to be on top of your game every time, price the listing right, get the right commission, have the marketing in place, this workshop will change your mind. It will completely change the way you do things right now. You and I will work together. I will tell you more about it, but I'm just curious if you want to come. 2 last tickets left. And with that, how about we go to the first question? What do you say? Let me check to see how we're doing on our free conference. If you guys are listening to the conference on the telephone, just hit *6. This will put you in a question queue so that I can see you have a question. I'll put you live and we're going to chat. All right, so it's *6. To dial in, the number is 805. Well, hold on. Let me put it on the screen for you guys. Here it is, 805-399-1200. Then you're going to get at the conference. The conference code for today is 143153, and you must hit the pound. And then to be in the queue is *6. That will put you in the queue, and we can talk. All right, now, a couple questions I wanted to address. Here's one from Anna. One of my students from Prescott, Arizona, sent me this. An area to fix my business would be how to develop and transmit trust to the public. I'm an honest and open realtor, as many out there are. I like to be a great facilitator, but I am in the business of trust. And I feel that in order to expand my business, I need people to feel like they can trust me. Any of you have similar issues with trust? It is one of the core pieces of the puzzle to be successful in real estate, is the issue of trust. Think about it this way. Regardless whether you've been in a business for 6 months, 6 years, 26 years, it comes down to 3 things, and you've heard me say this before. It is one of the most important, most critical part of your business, and that's trust. People must like you, trust you, and respect you in order for you to do business with you. We're all the same. You're the same. If you didn't like me, if you didn't trust me, if you didn't believe in what I have to teach you works or my systems work for you, if you didn't respect me, you wouldn't follow my advice. Right? You would just think, Borino's full of shit. This stuff doesn't work. There needs to be a connection between us. There needs to be a level of trust that we must have. It's the same for you in the business. It's the same thing, and it is one of the most critical elements, because the years in the business don't matter. They help, but they don't matter. Why? Because I know 20-year veterans who are still broke and struggling. So just because you've been at it for a long time doesn't guarantee any success at all. It can help, especially if you survive for so long, and hopefully you thrive. Many of my clients, you guys kick butt. But it is not the critical piece. The critical piece is really they like you, trust you, and respect you. Every single listing you've gotten so far, whether it's your first listing you just got, or 50th, or you got thousands, it's because they liked you, trusted you, and respected you the most, more than every other agent they have considered. And if you lost a listing to another agent, it's the same reason. They didn't like you as much as somebody else. They didn't trust you as much as somebody else. So now knowing that, like Anna is asking, it's a really, really good question. How do you build that trust? I have been fortunate, I've been doing this for over 20 years now, and I am lucky because I attract a certain caliber of agents. I don't have hordes of people like other coaches out there. My crowd is smaller, but you guys are a very unique group of people, a very unique group of agents. You're honest, you work really, really hard, and you do your clients right. You do right by them. You're cool to your clients. You take good care of them. You genuinely want to help them. Yes, you're ambitious. You must be. That's how you put food on the table. That's how you pay bills. But beyond that, you want to do the best job possible. And the reason I know that is because that's who I attract. And I do that by design. I do it for a reason. I do it on purpose. I don't like those who look for quick fix or magic bullets or get rich overnight. Nothing wrong with getting rich quickly. And we can turn things around quickly. That's the cool thing about real estate, about this business. But there is a certain profile of people I attract. So now knowing that, you can just go out and meet a seller and say, hey, Bob, I am honest and hardworking, and you can trust me. Now I know some agents try that, and it doesn't work very well because that's selling. And the natural, logical reaction that's already built in our neurobiology, a lot of what Charles is talking about in his book, develops an organic wall, the defense wall. Nobody wants to be sold. We don't like being sold, right? So how do you do that? Why is it so hard for so many to develop this trust? Well, let me show you a couple of things you can focus on. How do you communicate the trust? How do you communicate? How do you get your message across? How do people get to know about you and then get to know you? It's very important. So that's verbal communication. I can't just use WC because for our friends from Europe, that would stand for toilet. So I better put the whole word there, right? So verbal communication, how do you communicate trust? Where does it come from? And then marketing. And that would include stuff like your email, your website, your printed materials, everything else that does not include either phone conversation or face-to-face. Okay? So that's how you communicate it. So how do you do that? Well, in communication, it comes down to a couple of things. Confidence. This is one of the most important qualities you can develop, is to be confident. And this, again, stems into two things. Can you guys see it? Let me make sure. Are we still within the frame? Okay. So confidence comes from expertise and inner certainty. It's divided into two things. Expertise, that means what kind of expertise do you have? How well do you know the market, the contracts? How well do you know the process of getting a home sold? What makes you an expert? And then inner certainty. You have a sense of inner certainty. I feel good about myself. I trust myself. It's the sense of inner trust. And it is very, very attractive because everybody wants to do business with an agent who has that sense of, I know how to take care of this. I know how to get things done. And again, it has nothing to do with the level of your experience. You could be in a business 6 months and have that sense of inner certainty where you know how to get things done. And then experience, that means you preview the market, you understand the pricing, and you also know how to present it well to the seller. And then in your marketing, same thing. What do you communicate? How do you communicate in your marketing? Is there a sense of certainty? Do you come across as somebody who knows how to get the job done without selling it? That means your stuff that you communicate out through your emails and web and print, is it helpful? Is it engaging? Is it interesting? And does it come from, and I refer to this a lot, you heard me say this a lot, high status. This is what high status really means. So that's how you get to that. Now, some of it requires practice. You practice a lot, how you communicate, especially when it comes to the verbal communication. Get a role play partner. That helped me tremendously. Every session I have with you, that's one of the first things I tell you, get a partner practice. You must know what to say, your expertise, and how to say it. Because I'm sure you know an agent, maybe it's even you, maybe you know them intimately, who is a market expert. You know the market inside out. You know really well what it takes to get a property sold. You're good at what you do, but where you struggle is how you communicate it. Maybe you're too timid or you push it too much. Either extreme will hurt you and will hurt your business. So work on your expertise, work on your inner certainty, and if there's a leak, if there's a problem somewhere, if you feel uncertain somewhere, if you feel insecure or nervous or unsure, figure out what it is, and it can be all fixed. And then review your marketing. Have somebody take a look at it and ask them, what's your first impression? How would you react if you got this email? What would you think if you came to my website? Get their feedback and see how it comes across. Okay? So hopefully that helps, Anna. All right. Now, all right, you guys, the Q&A is on. If you have a question on the phone, just hit *6. Let me just show you the number again for those of you guys who are watching this on YouTube or on Listing University. 805-399-1200. The code for this conference is 143153#. And then the magic code is *6. All right. Cool. So now, one of the things I'm going to share with you a little bit later, since we're talking about busy season coming upon us, good time to be in real estate right now. A lot of buyers and sellers coming out of the woodwork, a lot of good listings out there, is where to find the leads right now. I'll give you some tips. Some of them will be a little bit obvious, but be careful. There's a trap in, oh, I've heard this one before, and I've tried this before and it didn't work for me. The reason I'm sharing this with you because that's what works. I have over 10,000 students. Trust me if I tell you, if you do this, no promises, obviously. FCC disclaimer, I make no promises or then no guarantees. But the stuff I give you, I'm sharing with you because I know this can work. Because I know that's where the good leads right now are. This is how you convert them into appointments. One of the things, let me just go to the big board again. You need to focus on, we bring your focus, it's kind of like a laser. You know, there's so much noise out there. There's so much stuff out there. Do this, send this, try this web page, use this system. What I want you to do in the next 90 days, and there's a reason why I say 90 days, and I'll show you in just a moment, to focus only on 3 things. Number 1, generating leads. This should be about 60% of your time, effort, money, and focus. 60% is getting new people who hopefully want to sell. If they want to buy, not great, but better than nothing. But primarily focus on seller leads. Seller leads, 60% of your time, 60% of your effort, 60% of your business budget should be focusing on leads generation, new seller leads. Active marketing, passive marketing, prospecting, advertising, promotion, that kind of stuff. You have about 40 different methods you can use to generate leads. For those of you guys who are my Listing University students, check out the training where I go through all 40 of them. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2, setting appointments. Should be about 25%. Setting up appointments, how do you do that? Follow-up. Good follow-up. You know what makes the best follow-up? No, it's not a postcard. It's not a magic letter. You know, the best follow-up is have a conversation. Nothing can replace a conversation. No fancy video, no fancy postcard, no fancy direct mail piece or anything else can replace a good conversation, whether it's face-to-face or on the phone. Super important. Have a conversation. That means you have leads in your system, hopefully. Lead generation leads into a database of people, whether you have 20 or 200. No matter what they've told you in the past, pick up the phone, give them a quick call. All you have to do during your follow-up is use a magic word. I'll give you something really cool. Here it is. Be good if I knew how to spell it. Doesn't make a magic word if it's misspelled. Because. I hope I got it right? Because. That's the magic word. So, even if you have a seller lead who says, John, don't call us until, I don't know, October. We won't be ready. Still give them a call. Don't use the silly, oh, I just wanted to follow up with you. I just wanted to see if you're ready. Every other salesman, saleswoman does that. Don't do that. Use the magic word because. Offer something interesting, entertaining, and helpful. What can it be? New listing in the area. Wouldn't a seller like to know that? Whether they're ready right now or they'll be ready 6 months from now, it's always a matter of curiosity. Engage that curiosity. I wanted to give you a quick call because there were a couple of new listings that came on the market. So that the seller doesn't have to call all these agents and try to find out and somebody snags your listing, right? Snags your lead. So you come out and offer helpful information. I wanted to give you a quick call because there were 2 new listings on the market. One is on Oak Street. That one is listed for $797. There's another one on Maple Avenue. That one is listed for $594. They're both pretty nice properties, about the same size as yours. Just wanted to let you know I think you would find this interesting. How about you guys? Get them in a conversation. Doesn't need to be long, doesn't need to be elaborate. But you accomplish 3 things. You position yourself as an expert. Remember what we talked about a little while ago? How you communicate? This is important. You have the expertise. Okay? So that's number 1. You position yourself as an expert. Number 2, you are being helpful. You're not just a salesperson trying to snag a listing now. You offer something of value. You're being helpful. And number 3, you create comfort. Comfort is important in the decision process because the seller needs to feel comfortable doing business with you. They need to be in a state of not be defensive, but kind of open up with you. And the way you create comfort is through repetition. So you repeat these contacts, you send them a helpful piece of mail, you have a little conversation on the phone with them, then you follow up with a little card saying, hey, thank you, John, very nice talking with you, enjoyed our conversation, when you're ready, let me know. So now you're repeating the contacts that create familiarity, that create comfort. All that can be accomplished very easily. Just get on the phone. You will be surprised that some of your leads, even though they say we won't be ready for 6 months, a year, whatever they tell you, suddenly will be ready. And it can be because the circumstances have changed, but it can also be because you've repeatedly got in touch with them. You have been helpful, you have been high status, helpful agent, and expert. They feel comfortable doing business with you. So don't be surprised if some of them will say, yeah, you know what, come on down, let's talk about our house. Give yourself the chance, give them a chance, and be open to possibilities. Go in with good expectations. But call every single person on your list. And you can even say, you know, we're entering a busy busy time. These are busy times for us. Kids will be out of school pretty soon. The weather is pretty nice, except you guys in Colorado. And so I just wanted to follow up with you, let you know what's going on in the market, give you some helpful information. I wanted to see if your plans have changed. Try it. You will be surprised. You will set up some appointments. So that's 2. And then the final, number 3, get good listings. Now, most parts of the country, market is pretty hot, right? Good listings are hard to come by. A lot of buyers, a lot of demand, properties sell super quick. Even in our area, we had one came out on the market 3-4 days ago, multiple offers already. So things are moving. That means if you have a listing appointment coming up, if through follow-up, using the magic word, you got some listing appointments, you must deliver your A game. This is not the time to wing your listing presentation. This is not the time to just kind of do the best you can. This is not the time to be unprepared. You really must be on the game right now. That means you have a good pre-listing package. You pre-qualified the seller. You understand their situation very, very well. You know what their core driving emotion is. You understand the situation completely. You're familiar with the property and the neighborhood. You know exactly what it needs to be listed for. You know exactly what it's going to sell for. You know exactly what it's going to take to get it sold and how long. All that encompasses your expertise. You must know that. Going in. That's where a lot of your confidence will come from when you sit down in front of the seller and you do your listing presentation. But it must be well prepared, you must be totally focused, and you must be absolutely confident. Because even a slight hesitation, a little bit of veering, a little bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're not 100% certain, where there is a ambiguity, the seller will notice and they will react to it. And they can react to it by saying things like, that was really interesting, John, thank you very much. We have a couple more agents we're going to talk to. Because maybe your pricing was not confident enough. Maybe they felt like you really wasn't 100% sure. You weren't on it. Or maybe the way you communicated it wasn't 100% on. So that means practice your listing presentation. Prepare a good pre-listing package. Have it delivered, mail it, or you drop it off. Call the seller, confirm your appointment, make sure you understand well what's going on. You understand the situation and deliver a good presentation that's well prepared. Okay? That's how you do it. It takes these 3 things. Now, look around. There are properties being listed all day long. There are new sales being sold, homes being sold every day. So the business is vibrant, business is moving. You got to take a slice of it. This is what it takes. Leads, good leads, sellers preferably, appointments, and listings. So now I promised you I'm going to give you some places where you can look right now to get good seller leads. One of them, and you'll be a little surprised, but trust me, if you do this right, you will get leads. And that is a good open house. Now, you're not interested in hordes of buyers. You will get tons of buyers, some tire kickers, some, so-so, and some pretty good, but that's not really your primary target. You want, during your open house, buyers who come in but need to sell something first, move up buyers, or somebody out of the area. And number 2, neighbors who live in the area who are thinking about selling. Because just like in my neighborhood, just like in every neighborhood, watch what's going to happen now. One listing goes on the market, other neighbors are going, the Joneses down the street are selling, maybe we should too. 2, 3 other listings pop up fairly quickly in a sequence. So when you do a good open house, you will tap those leads. So if somebody comes to your open house, yes, some of them will be just curious neighbors, and that's okay. Why not just have a conversation with them? Maybe you pick up a couple of things, a couple interesting things about the neighborhood. But some of these people who live in the neighborhood are considering selling. Those are the ones you want to hook. Now, of course, it takes some preparation. Good open house, give it a couple of weeks, really prepare it well, market it, promote it, pick the right house. Doesn't need to be your listing, doesn't matter. As long as it's a cool house, priced well. Market in the neighborhood, knock on some doors, spend a few hours in the neighborhood, pass out some flyers, invite people. Here's a simple dialogue. Hi, my name is Borino with ABC Real Estate. I'm helping John and Mary down the street on Oak Avenue sell their home. They hired us to sell their home. And I was wondering if you happen to know somebody who may be interested. Anybody who would like to live in this neighborhood? We're going to hold it open next Saturday, so I wanted to invite you personally. Curious neighbors are welcome, of course, so why don't you stop by, have a glass of wine, we can chat, you can check out the property. Maybe you'll run into somebody who may be a good neighbor to you guys. That's it, real simple. Now, you can carry the conversation further. If they are open, if they're chatty, you can ask them, what about you guys? Have you thought about living somewhere else, or are you going to stay here? Where would you go next if you were to move? How soon would you like to be there? Now you're finding out information about them, you can write it down. Say, well, why don't I mail you some information on the neighborhood? Just what's sold recently, what's on the market right now, what's being sold right now. Kind of gives you an idea where the prices are, what's going on. And I'll follow up with you. Would that be all right? Real simple. Now, if they do come to your open house, then you know these people might be thinking about something, might be interested, okay? So that's one. Do a good open house. The second thing I will recommend is do a direct mail campaign. Send some letters out. Now, these can be through an open house, you pick up a buyer. Okay, you pick up a couple, you start showing them property, you're having a hard time finding them something. Why not put together a little letter saying, hey, I'm working with John and Mary. We're having a hard time finding a home for them. This is what they're looking for. Your home seemed to come close to their criteria. If you're considering selling in the future, please let me know. Something like that. You can also do just listed, just sold postcards, offer a free evaluation to the sellers. So that's number 2. And number 3 is old expireds. Go after old expireds. Pull old expireds that were on the market 6 months ago, a year ago, year and a half, even 2 years ago. Go back. Get maybe 100, 150, 200 properties. Confirm, make sure they have not been relisted and or sold. Those they haven't, call them back. Knock on their door. Visit them and say, you know what? I know it was kind of a bummer your house didn't sell. You were on the market about a year ago, right? Well, it was kind of a blessing in disguise. What happens? Curiosity. What's the question they will follow up with? Well, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, you know, in our neighborhood, now, of course, this has to be the case in your neighborhood. In our neighborhood, since the last time you were on the market, the prices have gone up 9 to 12%. In that little statement, again, I'm establishing my expertise. I'm an expert. I'm offering something interesting, of value, and I'm gaining their trust, plus I'm hooking their curiosity. So there's a good possibility you may even walk away with more cash than a year ago. What do you think a seller who's still thinking about selling, what would go through their mind? One of the first things they would like to know is, what do you think? How much can we get? Bingo, they got them hooked. You get them in a conversation, get information, find out what the status is, look at the property, maybe they'll let you in, ask them. I know it's kind of weird, this is a stranger knocking on your door, it's kind of out of the blue, but if you can give me a quick tour, maybe a 5-minute super quick tour, I take some notes, I'll be more than happy to show you what your property would sell for right now. People invite you in, offer you a glass of lemonade or a cup of tea, cup of coffee, have a little chat with them, boom. You will not know unless you try. So these are the 3 lead sources I recommend you should go after right now. Okay, was that helpful? Yes? All right, now, so we got the first question. Welcome to the show. This is Borino. Who is this? Area code 415.
Hello, Borino. It's Devon.
Who is this?
Devon.
Devon, how are you?
I'm doing good. Are you?
I'm doing really, really well. Are you enjoying the show so far?
Yep.
Awesome. Now, you sent me a great email. You want to summarize what we talked about in that email?
Yeah, well, pretty much, earlier you were talking about building trust and being a high status agent, and also just focus on building trust with the seller. And in my particular case, because the seller, I know her personally, is my friend's mother, and I also know that she knows another agent that's her son's girlfriend. Mm-hmm. So, it's really comes down to like, okay, which one do I want to pick? Now, my friend did give me tips here and there, like, well, my mom went out lunch with Tracy. My mom did this. My mom did that. And my friend always told me that, I should do something similar like that too, like to just butter her up. And it's like, well, I could do that, but somehow I feel like I don't want her also manipulate two agents to see what can I grow out from these two.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, okay, well, if she listed, I know that I'm going to get some discount on the commission. But, if not, then I don't know. I mean, it's like, it's right there. I know she has definitely strong desire to sell the property.
Yes.
It's just a matter of time when she's going to...
so let me make sure I get it right. Man, it's getting really hot here. There's a big storm coming, and the air is just so humid right now here. Good question, Devon. So let me summarize it. You have a friend whose mom wants to sell a property. Now, it is between you, because you know the family, there's a certain level of trust and connection, and there's another agent who also has a certain level of trust and connection. Now the seller is debating who they're going to list with. What should you do about it? Do I understand it correctly so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had a conversation with the seller yet? Have you had a chat with them?
I did.
You did? And what was it a listing presentation or just a little talk?
It was just a little talk.
Okay.
Just getting to understand her, where she is, what's the reason, and kind of have the right information on what the house is selling for around the area.
All right, here is the most important question, and the answer to that question will tell me what are your chances of getting the listing. What is the seller's core driving emotion?
The core driving emotion is to sell the property so she can have a chunk of money where she can move to a smaller townhouse with her husband or her boyfriend, and just to use those money as a retirement fund.
All right, so that's the surface. What's underneath it? What is the emotion underneath it? What do you think is driving her?
Well, because she still has to pay the mortgage, and it's pretty high mortgage. She cannot do a refinance, and it's just each month is more than $5,000 on the mortgage. She has to come up. So it's long term. It's hard for her to continue on paying that payment because her income does not really support what she's living.
Now, what I would do in the conversation with her, I would explore this a lot. And I would do it for two reasons. Number one, I would establish exactly what it is, because I believe there is something underneath it. And number two, I need to know how intense this pain is of paying the mortgage every month and getting from under that boulder that keeps chasing her every 30 days. Okay, so that's number one. Second, I would find out what happens if the property doesn't sell for next 6 months to a year. How big of a problem would that be?
Okay.
Very important to know.
Borino, everything sells right now.
I understand, but what you need to know... No, not everything doesn't sell, Devon.
Well, most of them.
Now, which properties do not sell?
I'm sorry?
Which properties do not sell right now?
The overpriced ones.
Bingo! Now, how do you prevent an overpriced listing? You establish how bad do they want to sell by asking what happens if it doesn't sell. Because if they say, well, we'll just stay here, no big deal. Then what does that tell you? The intensity of the core driving emotion is really low. It doesn't matter to them a whole lot. But if they say, well, shit, 6 months, no way, we got to get this sucker sold because the mortgage is really chasing us and it's just a burden. Now you know you have a motivated seller. Why? Because the seller doesn't set the price. They only think they do. And you would run into a problem if they can sit comfortably in the property for the next 6 months, 12 months. You don't have a seller. You have a suspect. And they can be pain in the ass to work with, as you know. I'm sure we all had our share of overpriced listings, and you know how difficult they can be. Okay?
Right.
So those are the things you need to establish at the beginning. So now, practical tips, what you guys can do in a situation like this where you have a seller. Number one, remember this. You are never, ever, ever the only agent they talk to. No matter who it is, whether it's a referral, whether it's an expired FISBO, online lead, it doesn't matter. Every single lead that you have in this database we talked about, there is always at least one more agent in play. That's the bad news. The good news is the chances of them being a Borino student or a really good agent, pretty small. So you have a really good chance. How do I know that? If the other agent was really, really good, they would have already listed the property. You understand what I'm saying? So by the results, I can tell that the reason she's torn, that you guys are pretty close. So now, what do you do practically? Why not set up a listing appointment with her? What's stopping you from picking up the phone, having a conversation with her, and telling her, Ms. Jones, why don't we sit down for 20, 30 minutes? We'll go over your situation. We'll discuss what would it take to get the property sold? What is the most you're going to get for it? How long will it take to sell? Are there any repairs or improvements we need to do? And then you decide. There'll be no pressure. Then we'll decide. Maybe we'll like each other and decide to work together. Maybe not. But I promise you, no matter what happens at the end, you will walk with plenty of good, helpful information. I'm available on Friday at 3:30. Will the time work for you?
Borino, I've done that before. I already met with her face to face. Right now, the thing that's holding her back is that the basement, the in-law unit, it needed to be repaired, and she's been postponing. You're right. Like, she has this core driving motion of the mortgage, but then she's not really in a rush. So
Bingo.
That's why she wanted to take some time just to unpack and fix the things that needed to be fixed.
Now, let me just stop you right there, Demon, and we'll go further, but I just want to take it piece by piece. You will have sellers who will say, we will be ready when? First, we got to do X. Now, that X sometimes represents a real reason. My job transfer will not happen for 6 months, so there's no point of selling us selling before that. Cool. X means it's a fact. It's a condition you can't do anything about. But very frequently, X means I'm uncomfortable, I don't like making this decision, I'm afraid, and I'm scared to death. And they will find a reason to justify their decision. In other words, fixing up the basement, doing this, doing that, waiting for summer, waiting for winter, waiting after holidays, has nothing to do with that other than I'm postponing the decision. Now, why do they postpone it? There can be a deep emotional attachment to the property. You've seen it, right? They're just clinging to the property. If they raised their kids there, if they had every Thanksgiving dinner there, if they had Christmas, if they know all the neighbors, if they know the property and it's comfortable, it's hard to let go for these folks. And it's a very genuine, authentic emotion. Or moving scares the shit out of them. Some people are freaked out by it. I mean, think about it. The paperwork it involves, the decision they have to make, and not easy ones, and not simple ones. The fear of making a mistake, hiring a wrong agent, wrong price, wrong terms, wrong anything. People freak out over this. The process of selling. Where are we going to go? This is a problem some of you are facing right now. You may have a motivated seller who says, we want to sell, but shit, the market is so hot, we can't buy another property. Where do we go? And it goes back to the core driving emotion. What is driving them in the first place? You got to know that. So this is all this fear and all these, remember, every decision your clients make is always emotion-based. We are emotion-driven creatures. Logic kicks in to justify that emotional decision. Just look at this lady. And even without talking to her, I could probably very easily pinpoint her fears. They're holding her back. Now.
Yeah, you're right. She's been living there for a long time, more than 20 years, so that's why she's unwilling to let go. That would be something that I see. But again, my question to you also is that, I don't want to let her have the feeling of, two agents chasing her for her listing.
Sure.
So that she manipulate, both of us, to get some benefits out of it.
Yes. Now, I can give you a couple of quick tips. Number one, don't be stuck on one seller ever. Don't be so attached to this particular lead. Or you guys, if you have this seller, and I get these emails from you guys sometimes, Borino, you won't believe what happened. I got this seller and this. Let go. There are plenty others. One of the things I'm trying to teach you guys, and I have been for many years now, is this mentality of abundance. Because if you look around, there's plenty of business out there. Plenty of nice folks who need your help. plenty of listings to be taken, plenty of commissions to be made. Just look around. There are agents around you. Some my students, some not. But tons of people doing really well. Selling a bunch of properties, helping a lot of people. So get rid of this scarcity mentality. There's a little bit and I have to fight for it, and there's another agent I have to fight with. Bullshit. There's tons of it out there. A lot more than you can possibly handle. A lot more that you would ever want. But it starts right here. It starts in the head. The mentality has to be there's plenty. All I have to do is do the 3 things that Borino told me: generate leads, set up appointments, go on listings. Don't get stuck on just one. Don't hold on too tight, because if you start holding too tight, the seller will feel it and they will react to it. They will start feeling pushed and manipulated and pressured. Now, with that being said, it's also your obligation and duty to help them make the right decision. That's part of your job. If you honestly believe you can help them, you can deliver, and I know you, Devon, are an exceptional good agent, full of integrity, and a terrific agent that I would never hesitate to hire if I was in a situation where I needed a good agent like you. It is your obligation to help them. So how do you do that? Have a conversation with them. So I would get them on the phone, preferably I meet them in person. And I would say, Devon, I know this is not easy. Believe me, I've been doing this for long enough to understand that letting go of the past and the memories is not easy. The process I'm going to take you through, or I'm going to take the client through, is called emotional decoupling. Now, I'm not attached to the outcome. That way, I cannot push them or manipulate, but I will influence. Here's how I would do it. I know this is not easy. I totally get it. I have many clients just like you. It's hard after so many years to let go of all these memories. I mean, you've spent a big chunk of your life here. This is not a house. This is to you is your home. And I understand that to let that go overnight is almost impossible. But here's the question. How will this be any easier a month from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now? It will not. It'll be just as hard. So here's the question I have. Would you be ultimately better off living in that cute, comfortable little condo where all this is behind you? No more worrying about monthly payments, no more worrying about repairs, no more worrying about all that. Could you still enjoy life? There is still plenty of life you have left. Could you still enjoy it somewhere else? Or do you feel like you're better off still being stuck here? Same house, same everything. What's better? Because here's the thing. You can have it any way you want to, and I will make it a reality. That's something I do. That's what I do for a living, helping folks just like you. But I will need your help. Even though I understand it's hard, even though I know it's not that just like you snip a cord, but there comes a point where no matter how uncomfortable the decision is, it has to be made. Are you prepared and are you ready to make that decision? And would you like me to help you?
Okay.
And that's it.
Got it.
Got it? Now, be ready. She might say, no, I'm not ready. And that's okay. Because I assure you, Devon, there are plenty of other people who are ready to make a decision, who need your help, who want your help. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then just follow up with her. I wouldn't drop the ball on her, and I would just say, what do you expect to happen first? Now, here's the thing. You say she has to do some repairs, and that's all cool, and that may be all very valid. Why not list the property and just post-date it? This will give her a deadline to work towards. You lock in a good listing. You can start preparing the marketing, preparing everything else. So by the time she's ready, you push the button, property sells, she's on the way. Post-date it. Give her 30 days. Give her 60 days. Why not?
Right. Okay.
Was that helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Anything else?
That would be it.
That would be. Are you coming to DC?
No, not this year.
Not this year. Because this is exactly what we're going to talk about. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to teach you guys is how to have these confident conversations. How to prep the seller before you go to see them. What to do exactly during the presentation. Your presentation should be 25, 30 minutes tops. And we're going to role play it and work on it quite a bit. And then you will know what to do after the presentation. So you're locking in these listings left and right. So get your butt down here.
I'll try.
All right, yeah, I'll try. You know what that means. I'm not going to do it, but I'll feel guilty about it. Yeah, I'm going to let you do it. No, I'm just busting your balls. But great. Thank you so much for the info. Keep me posted. Let me know how it turns out with this seller, okay?
Okay, sounds
Good
good.
deal.
Thanks,
Thanks, Devon. Good talking with you always. That
The
was...
Q&A session is over.
No, it's not. Sorry, my bad.
Q&A session started.
All right. So if you want to be next in the Q&A, if you have a question, you want to chat like I just did with Devon, here is the number. It's on the screen. 805-399-1200. Then the code for this conference is 143153 pound. And the code is *6. All right. So let me pull up. There was another cool email. Okay, we have somebody else on the line. Hey, it's Borino. Welcome to the show. Who is this? Hello? You are area code 267. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi, Borino.
Hi, who is this?
My name is Victoria.
Hey, how are you, Victoria?
I'm good. I'm so happy to get to talk to you.
Ah.
I've been following you for a long time.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Is this your first tune-up? First time we're chatting live?
Yes. Yes.
Outstanding.
And I'm sorry, I have my infant son with me. So.
Oh, cool.
Please excuse him.
Nice.
Okay.
How can I help you, Victoria?
I have a question in regards to, I had met a seller over the weekend, on Friday, last Friday.
Uh-huh.
He called me. I've been talking to him for a while, and he and for several months before, and then he finally got in contact with me. And he's been trying to sell his house for a long time, for probably about over a year. And he went through so many different brokers, and they basically did not get the job done.
Uh-huh.
So the house where it's at, it's in the neighborhood where I grew up at, and I told him, look, where the house is actually in a neighborhood where there's a lot of old families.
Mm-hmm.
And did your agent tell you that? And he said no. It was kind of new information to him. And I told him, well, I know a lot. I grew up there. I knew, I ran the streets there.
Yeah.
I know, I know several people in there, in that town, that could be looking for a house in that area. So fast forward to last week, I finally got the call that he said, well, I'm interested in meeting you, and I'm not going to sign with a broker because it's been on the market for 2 years now, and he used different agents each and every time, and he wasn't able to sell the house.
Right.
So then I told him that, okay, well, I can come by and preview it. We can, meet, and and if I might have somebody for you, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
So I went over, saw the house, and it, and I asked him what the price was. He said it's $109, but there's a house a few doors down. It's a row home, and there's several houses down. There is a house that is going for $99,000, and it's and it has an additional full bathroom. It does not, and I didn't know what to really tell him because I was like, when I told him that I had, that I knew some people that was looking, I knew that it wasn't for them because the price was high.
Yes.
And I really, I didn't know if I should really tell him that because he is trying to sell it himself now.
Okay.
And he wasn't going to list on broker.
So here's what I would recommend you do, Victoria. I would call the guy back, and I would say, you know what, I reviewed some information, chatted with some people about your property. Do you want to sell? How important is it? What happens if it doesn't sell in the next 6 months? Same question, notice. What would happen? Ask him. And then watch how he is going to answer that question. And what you want to pay attention to, not just the words he's going to use, but the emotion behind it. What is the intensity behind it? How much do you think it really matters to him? Now, the fact that it's been on the market for a really long time tells me one thing. No matter what he tells you, the results show that selling is not that important yet. Now, this can change. But just by the fact he's been goofing around for so long, doesn't mean to him a whole lot. He may think it does, but his actions speak much louder than his words. Because look at the outcome he's been getting. Very consistent outcome of don't sell, don't sell, don't sell, don't sell. What steps is he taking not to sell the property? All the relevant steps. How do I know that? Look at the results. Okay? So.
Yeah, because I asked him, did he get an offer throughout at all during these several years?
Yes.
And he said he got one, but it was at 89,000.
All right. Here's what I would do. I would call him back. What's his name?
His name is Cosme.
Cosme. I would say, hey, Cosme, look. We can talk about it all we want, or we can get it done. Now, I know how to get it done. I know how to get your property sold, get a good buyer for it, someone who's going to like the property, take care of it, who is ready, qualified, and ready to go. I can make that happen for you, if it matters to you. But I need to be certain this really matters to you. I need to be certain you're going to be honest with me, you're going to do what I tell you to do, and we're in this together before I start investing my time, my effort, and my money. What do you want to do? And he says, no, I want to sell it on my own. I'm like, that's terrific. But let me ask you a question. What if I could show you that by listing with an agent, good, competent agent, unfortunately you encountered some less than competent people that didn't get the job done. That's not how I work. I have two rules. I work only with nice people, and I only list properties I know I can sell. So if you and I decide to work together, I will go in knowing that I will stay with it and I'm committed to it until it's done. Would you like me to help you? Now, here's the question. Sorry, I kind of got off track there, but the question I would ask is, what if you would walk away with, what if there was a good chance you walk away with more money even though you list with an agent? Would you consider listing it? Because if he's selling FSBO now, he's probably convinced I'm going to save money. Here's why he's really going FSBO. The reason he's going FSBO is because the other agents were such clowns, didn't get the job done. He probably thought, well, geez, I can do a better job than these fools. You know what I mean? So now this guy may be completely burned out. I don't know. But you can only find out if you have a conversation with him, face-to-face, open, honest few minutes of really getting to the root of why is he really selling? What is really driving him? What is the pain and what is the pleasure? And how bad does he want it? Because so far his actions indicate he doesn't want it a whole lot. Is that making sense so far, Victoria? Okay.
Yeah, and
now,
then
go ahead.
To end the conversation, he told me that another agent had contacted him and had already sent over listing documents, and he was kind of been pushing it off. So, and he said he wanted to give me the opportunity to bring somebody in.
Look, I'm not just going to bring somebody in. I don't work that way. That doesn't make sense. Here's how we're going to get it done. We're going to meet together. First, we're going to decide if we want to work together. What if I don't like you? We can't work together if I don't like you. Remember my rules. Now, let's say we do like each other, and I decide to help you, and you decide to hire me. We shake hands. We're going to put the property on the market. We're going to do some repairs. We're going to price it on the price that will cause it to sell. We're not going to discuss what the property is worth. That's not the issue here. We're going to talk about what price will cause it to sell. We're going to talk about the value. We're going to talk about the price. Two very different things. We list it. I'm going to generate buyers, whether through my efforts, through my marketing, or through other agents. How it's going to happen, you probably don't care a whole lot. I will give you a copy of my marketing, obviously, but at the end, what you care about is getting a good, fair price for it, making it happen quickly, getting closed on time. That's exactly what I do. Would you like me to help you? Yes or no? And if he says no,
I like that a lot.
You shake his hand, you turn around, you say there are 20 others just like this guy, or probably better, more motivated, nice people, and you go on. Because, I mean, think about it this way. If you sell it, how much money will you make at a $100,000 property? What's your commission on it, Victoria?
In our area, it's 6%. It's not standard. I shouldn't say such.
I know, but normally people charge about 6%. So if you send a $100,000 house, you're going to make, what, $3,000?
Yeah, just about.
Don't kill yourself over $3,000. You know what I'm saying?
The thing about it is that I'm kind of like ready to walk away because I can sense that he cares more about what like the sales price. And even because there's a house, like I said, there's a house a few doors down that has an additional bath and has a fireplace, and it's being sold at $10,000 $10,000 less.
Sure. And you tell him that. And you have to be honest with him, Victoria. You have to tell him. I said, no matter how this makes you feel uncomfortable and unpleasant, the fact is you and I don't control the price. We have no control of the price.
I just don't know if I should tell him, be completely honest with him up front, even though we're not in a contract together.
Set up a listing appointment with him. Bring him to your office. Do a full-on listing presentation. 25, 30-minute, very confident, focused listing presentation. Well-researched, well-prepared. Go over the steps. Do you have the presentation plus? Do you have my presentation?
I'm not sure. I signed up on the listing university.
Okay.
And then I got the expired express.
Okay, I would suggest get the presentation plus. And for those of you guys, this is not a commercial for it, but I'm just telling you, if you want to have an easier time communicating with sellers, understanding the sellers. A lot of these role plays and dialogues I do with you guys is not because I have these fancy scripts. Notice that every time I do this, they sound different. But it is because I understand what drives sellers, how they think, what is the psychology and how to influence that psychology. That's what the presentation plus is all about. So you might want to pick up a copy. Now, the reason I think it's effective is because if you sit down with him for 25, 30 minutes, he will understand. He doesn't control the price. If he wants to sell, he will clearly feel connection with you because there are certain hooks and triggers you're going to use. Not manipulating. This is not a salesmanship. This is psychology of helping someone who needs your expertise and your help. That's what it's based on. And at the end of 30 minutes, only one of two things will happen. You decide not to take the listing. Rarely, occasionally, the seller walks away and decide not to list with you, which is fine because it's usually they're just not realistic. But most likely, you're going to take the listing. That's really that simple. It's really not that hard. Now, again, same thing I told Devon a little while ago. Don't get stuck on just one listing, one client, one lead. There are plenty of people out there. We are in a vibrant economy and vibrant market right now where in most parts of North America, properties are moving. People are selling. People are moving left and right. New listings coming on the market constantly. So get a piece of that. Do the things I was talking about. Go after FSBOs, old expireds, new expireds obviously. Do a little mailing. Do an open house. Pick up some people you can help. There are plenty of them out there. Talk to people. That's really the secret.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right.
Was that helpful?
Yes, it's very helpful. It really cleared the lenses.
Yeah.
And how to help and.
Yeah. Either help him and tell him I'm gonna help you. Just let me help you, or next.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
All right. Nice chatting with you, Victoria. Thanks for the call.
All right. You're welcome.
Let me know how it turns out. Okay. Shoot me a quick email when this gets resolved. All right.
Okay. Of course.
Cool. All right. That was Rockstar Agent Victoria. And who is this? Hello?
Oh, do I have to hang up? I'm sorry.
No, let me just push this. Okay, we're on to the next one. Hey, it's Borino. Welcome to the show. Who is this? Hello? Area code 386. And I think you have a speakerphone on. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, you know what's happening? They have the audio on. Can you hear it? Let's listen in. Very good teleconference. It's Borino. Who's calling from 386? Area code 386. All right, we'll go to the next one. Hi, it's Borino. Welcome to the show. Hello? Say hi if you think it's you. Area code 603. Hello? No? And I still wanted to chat with somebody. Hit *6 when you're on the phone. You want to chat, the number is on your screen. Let me give it to you. 805-399-1200. Then the conference code is 143153#. And then the code is *6. And area code 603. Hello. Can you hear me? Is there anybody out there? I guess not. Hello? No. All right. So with that, let me show you one more email I wanted to address. This is from Wani from Glendale, California. She writes, the one thing, sure I have more than one, that I really need is to just do it. I'm struggling with prospecting, or I should say dialing the phone and meeting new people. It's still the fear. Wani from Glendale. Struggled with that for a long time, you guys. I'll be honest. That took me a while to really get over the whole notion of bugging strangers and feeling comfortable talking to strangers. But if you really think about it, big chunk of success in this business depends on your ability to be comfortable communicating with strangers. And no matter what kind of prospecting you do and what kind of marketing you do, whether it's a direct mail or it's web or it's whatever, referrals, there comes a point where you have to have a conversation with a stranger, right? Either on the phone or in person. How you handle that conversation not only impacts that particular encounter, but what will happen after. Because it's in those first few seconds where the first impression is established. Are you viewed as an expert? Are you viewed as an authority, somebody who can be trusted, somebody who can be liked and trusted and respected and followed, obviously? Or somebody who is just another one of those agents, who sounds just the same, who looks the same, who acts the same, and is just considered a salesman or a saleswoman. So, being able to develop this, and it's a skill, being able to develop this skill is just another one of those, like we talked about, trust. Also, this level of confidence, being able to confidently and comfortably talking with strangers without fear. How do you do that? Now, I have a whole bunch of coaching on it. It is not something I can just teach you within an hour, but I can definitely give you enough tips to point you in the right direction so this will not be a big issue fairly soon. So what do? Step one, acknowledge you have a problem. Don't hide under the rock. No point of sticking head in the sand saying, well, no, don't feel that. No need to be Pollyanna. If you feel nervous, if you feel insecure, if you feel uncomfortable, dialing and talking to FISBOs and expireds and following up with leads where you just kind of cringe a little. That's how I felt. There was this weird tension in my body throughout these calls. It wasn't comfortable for a long time. So step one, just acknowledge this is what I feel. Be honest in your soul, in your heart, and in your body first. And I mean, honestly, take a little bit of time, just kind of evaluate. I feel this knot in my stomach. That's what I felt, here in this area. Is it called triplex? Isn't that something? Something. You probably know, you guys, the expert term. But it was here, like above my stomach. My palms would sweat. I would have this tension in my shoulders. And then I would feel this apprehension just picking up the phone and dialing. And my voice wouldn't sound very confident. It would have this weird little twitches to it, I guess. I would often get lost in the conversation by not knowing exactly what to say next, how to react, especially if it was kind of a direct question or objection, particularly with the sellers who were kind of direct, kind of abrupt, direct. And with expireds, God knows there were plenty of those. So it just wasn't a pleasant experience. I was happy and relieved and joyful when it was over. And of course, the results, not so great. So, if you feel the same way, first say, okay, this is how I feel, this is what's going on. I don't like calling, I don't feel comfortable doing it. It's not producing the results, obviously, and I need to change it. Step two is make a decision. I gotta change. So, let's do this. Step one, identify first what's going on. Identify it. What does it feel like? Where do you feel it? What's going on in your head? What thoughts do you have? What movies do you play in your head? Like, I'm bothering people, I'm just a peddler, I'm a salesman, people don't like me, etc. Identify it. Two is decide. Make a real decision, but I'm not talking about that half-ass, like, oh, I'm going to change, blah, 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 blah. No. Think about it this way. How much better would your business get? Would your bottom line get, your checkbook? How much better would you feel? How much more relief would you feel? How many more people could you help if you could fix that? If you reach a point where talking to strangers is no big deal. If you acknowledge it's just a skill, I can learn it just like many others. Get as much leverage as possible on you. What are all the benefits? Make more money, take good listings, take more time off, get some investments going, bring more cash in so I can pay off debt, buy a nice car, drive a nice new car, live in a comfortable home, put my kids through college. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that are directly connected to that would dramatically improve the quality of your business, quality of your life, quality of your income, if you could fix that. Don't you think? I'm convinced of that. Otherwise, why would I waste my time talking about it if it didn't matter? It matters a whole lot. It matters a lot more than many of you are willing to admit. So decide. And then say, what will happen if I do it and what will happen if I don't? What if things stay the same? What if you constantly feel the insecurity? What if so many people don't respond to your offers or your communication? Would you stay in the business? Would you be okay with if the things just kind of stayed the same? Probably not. So consider the option if things get better, what's the benefits, and list them all. And create leverage on yourself. Develop some sense of pain and urgency to change that. And then step 3, accept it can be changed. It can be changed because it can. Just like in the book that I recommend you read, The Power of Habit, you realize that this is just a habit. These are just linked reactions to events that are not necessarily logically linked. It's these emotions can be triggered and de-triggered and reprogrammed. So accept the possibility. It can be no big deal. Now, I never really loved calling strangers. I never really loved knocking on doors. But I reached a point where it's just no big deal. And many times I enjoyed these conversations because one of the benefits I listed was it was kind of cool to get to know more people, be able to open up with them so I can share part of my story. And, with me being an immigrant and starting from zero, many people kind of relate to that and they find it interesting. But on the other hand, I would also be able to hear their story. Because I assure you, behind this wall of defenses and all this bullshit that they sometimes put up to protect themselves from bad salespeople and bad agents, there are human beings, people who need help, people who are crying for help, who are seeking desperately someone like you who can help them. And to connect with them and to be able to hear their story was kind of cool, was interesting. So accept it. And then number 4, 1% change a day. It's not going to happen overnight. It didn't happen with me overnight. It took me a while. But the process, I recommend is 1% a day. Ask yourself this. In a realm of all the possibilities, and we live in the world of all the possibilities, could I get just 1% better at this every day? Is it possible, just 1%? Just a little bit better, a little more comfortable, know a little bit better how to answer that, know a little bit better how to open it. Like I'm talking to an expired listing. Can I just a little bit change my physiology or change my thoughts right before I dial? Is there a possibility? Of course it is. Of course you can get 1% better daily. Totally doable. So ask yourself this. Where will you be 3 months from now? 100 days from now? 100% better. Is it possible? Of course it's possible. I've seen it happen in a lot shorter time. But even if you give yourself just 1% a day, 100 days from now, you're going to be 100% better. So now imagine if you're 100% better, how much better will your prospecting be? How much better your follow-up will be? Your presentations, your calls, your visits. If it could be 100% better, you're going to knock it out of the park. It's going to be no big deal. The fact that I do these role plays and they come across as very organic and natural and you guys write me and tell me how fantastic it is not because I'm such a communication genius. I'm pretty good at this stuff, but most of what I show you is not because I'm so good. It's because I accepted and improved 1% a day. And there are a couple of things you can do. How do you improve? So I'll give you number 5 will be create index cards. This is what helped me. I would just get a little 3x5 index cards, wrote a little outline for every conversation I wanted to have. For sale by owners, expired listings, follow-up calls, all that stuff. Just a simple bullet points. That's number 1. And number 2, practice. Practice. What if you practiced 100 days for 15 minutes a day? If you practice the right stuff, you're going to master this stuff. No question about it. Can you give yourself the opportunity for the next 100 days, challenge yourself to really master this stuff? Because in the leverage part, you realize that, shit, if I don't, man, it's going to be hard. It's either going to continue to be a struggle, or I might not even be in this business if I don't master this stuff. So if you create enough good leverage and you say, it's totally worth it, Jesus, I can make more money, I can be successful, I can feel good, I don't have to struggle with this. Then practicing for 100 days, 15, 20 minutes a day with a partner, it's going to make a huge difference. And of course, there are other books and resources. I have the Top Confidence. You might want to check that out. Shoot me an email if you want more info on it. But this really is a solid starting point to get you to that point where you communicate with trust. You communicate with confidence, connection. You're in control of the conversation, because that's really what the sellers want. They don't want a wishy-washy agent. They don't want some kind of a tentative wimp or a wuss. They want somebody who's confident, who knows what they're talking about, without being pushy. You don't need to be an aggressive, pushy bastard. You can be totally cool about it. And very comfortable, very laid back. But also, there's a lot of personality and confidence behind it. It can be developed, it can be improved, it can be enhanced. I would highly recommend you do these things. All right, and if you want my help, you can always reach out. So speaking of which, this is the contact info. Just shoot me an email. Call our office if you need my help. If you're interested, well, might as well tell you. Why don't I tell you? This is one of my favorite mottos. You guys who are in the boot camp and you guys who've been through my training, I love this. Every day do the best you can with what you have. So I decided to train a small group of people. But the stuff like confident communication is one of those rare things that I cannot just produce a video, or I cannot just do a book or DVDs. It's like with swimming. You gotta jump in the water and swim to be a good swimmer, right? You cannot read books about swimming to become a good swimmer. You cannot watch videos. You actually need to experience it and take a few gulps of the water if that's what it takes. The problem with good presentations and good confident communication is if you sit down in front of the seller, it's many times too late to practice, or the lesson is pretty expensive. Now, if you nail this, it just feels good because you're in control. Most of your competition doesn't stand a chance once you master this. Just like we talked about with Victoria and we talked about with Devon and everybody else, there's no more tension. If you have a good presentation, the sellers feel better because you're in this together as a team, and you feel better because it's just an easier way to do that. I never liked price reduction, so if you present well and you present pricing well, don't have to worry about it. Because price reductions just confirm to the seller, well, our agent, not that competent. And even your follow-up and your prospecting work better because now you know, if I sit in front of the seller, I know how to take a listing. It's as good as done. And this is one of my favorite parts. Unlike the bulk of this industry that still has a bad reputation, sellers will respect and appreciate you because you come in as an expert, as an authority, not a salesperson. That means you also have better listings, good listings, bigger inventory, and make more money as a result. I like more time off. Lately I've been riding my motorcycle more often, so more time off is good, I can tell you. So this is for you. If you lost listing because of poor presentation, if you got knocked out by another agent, or if you end up with bad listings, you will enjoy these 2 days. You're willing to work, you're willing to grow and learn and be coached. Now when I say coach, I don't just mean me telling you stuff, but you actually doing it in the room for 2 days in June, where we have cameras pointing at you and we're going to do video replay and we're going to dissect your communication and your presentation. You want to leave the competition in the dust? And most importantly, if you really want to have, and it's not aggressive, that's the cool thing. It's powerful, but it's really easy. Once you master it, you will feel so at ease doing this stuff. It is by far the easiest way to get the information across. And of course, you want to get paid more and have more cool clients. So this will be 2 intense days. And when I say intense, I mean it. We're going to start at 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday and go till 4 p.m. on Saturday, and then 9 to 2 p.m. on Sunday. So a lot of work ahead. But you will master the most advanced presentation system. That's the Presentation Plus. This is not selling. This is psychology. I'll be coaching you personally. That's why the group will be very small. I'll be available. I'll be in the room with you, and we're going to work on this until you get all this. There'll be detailed video analysis. Wait till you see yourself on a big screen. You will see what works and why, but you'll also see what doesn't, what needs to be improved and why. And it's going to be a cool group to hang out with. These are the graduates from the last year, a really good bunch. The guy you see with the circle on the right side, that's my man Riaz, who really knocked it out of the park. He got back, and within like 2 or 3 months, he became #1 in his company. See that little circle? That's him being a #1 for his Remax office. So, and there were other success stories, obviously, but this is one that I really like. So this will be a live hands-on workshop, small teams. We have about 2 or 3 tickets left, if I'm not mistaken. Most of them are already sold out. You will practice, you will watch others, plenty of time to ask questions. You will know, and you walk away with a badass listing presentation. June 14th and 15th, 2014, that's a Saturday and Sunday. Now I know it's a Father's Day. I'm a father after all, but we're going to wrap up at 2 p.m., so you still will have time to hang out with your family if you want to. We'll be at Hyde Regency, really cool place here in Washington, D.C. And 24 spots, we talked about that. Oh, okay, this is the process. You cannot buy it right now. Because the group is so small, this is by application only. Go to goborino.com. It's something that you want to consider. You and I will just talk about it. And I don't have any polished sale pitch for you. This is really just you and I going over what's going to happen, how you should benefit, what you can expect, what it is and what it's not. There is a $100 refundable deposit, but just so you show up for the phone call. So we're going to talk for about 10 minutes, you and I on the phone, no salespeople or anybody, it's just you and I chatting. You can ask questions about it. The price is $12.97. You guys, my subscribers, my students, half off. It's only $6.97. Comes with the Presentation Plus system that you get. There'll be some homework before we get together so you're prepared. Pre-listing package, you will know how to do that, what goes in it. You will get my template, the complete system. You will know how to do a killer CMA using multimedia slides. This works on Mac if you present on PC or even on iPad. Plus the marketing class, this is pretty cool. It's about 127 steps to get a property sold. This is fully customizable, obviously, so you can personalize it. Plus there's a whole bunch of additional resources and booklets and videos, everything to help you make sure your presentations, your listing presentations are confident, your communication is confident, you know how to work with sellers, how to be together on the same team but still be powerful based on the premise we talked about, that they like you, trust you, and respect you. That's the whole thing. So if you go to goborino.com, there's a link, you're going to pay the refundable deposit, and then you and I will just talk, if that's something you want to explore. All right, and with that, my friends, we're going to wrap up our call today. Really good time today. Hope you enjoyed it. I always have fun doing these for you because each one is slightly different. We cover different things. This is a good time to get inspired, to pick up some new tools, get some new ideas, or even older ideas that kind of just simmer in your head and you've been thinking about. Now may be a good time to jump in and start doing it. There are plenty of people out there who need your help. This is one of the hardest things to accept, is the mentality of abundance. But if you look around, just check the stats. There are agents, maybe in your office, maybe in your area, doing quite a bit of business. Now, don't get trapped into the comparison of, well, yeah, okay, but he is, she has this, and she does that, and she's been at this for so long, and that's the conscious fear talking. Yes, it requires work. Yes, it requires effort. Yes, it requires skill. No question about it. But the point I always try to get across is, you can do this. I've done it, really. An immigrant from Czechoslovakia with no English skills, no business background. Thousands of my students are doing it, helping people, listing properties, generating leads, going on appointments. You can too. It requires certain systems, certain skills, some persistence, a little bit of money, of course, you're running a business after all, and the right knowledge. But it can be done. I've had people who come to me with stories of hardship, and then within weeks and months, they're back on their feet. That's the beauty of this business. Unlike owning a restaurant or a bar or a shop or a store, Real estate gives you the opportunity to turn things around very, very quickly. You can be on your feet within weeks or months. It's a 90-day cycle. Where you are today is a result of what you've been doing 90 days from now, 90 days ago. So your thinking, actions, beliefs, and the state 90 days ago reflect your current income and business and reality. Where you're going to be 90 days from now is being determined today. That's both the good news and bad news. So if you're screwing around, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and if your mind is not in the right place, if your expectations are not in the right place, and if your beliefs are holding you back, you're screwed 90 days from now. But if you're focused, if you believe you can do this, if you're working on your skills, no matter where they are, you're going to improve. If you're using the right tools, if you come to my training, 90 days from now, the results have to change. Simple laws. That's how this universe operates. That's how this business operates. And there are way too many examples I could quote. No point. That's how it works. So if you accept that, you're on the right track. All right, my friends, good times today. Did you enjoy the tune-up? I know I have. Thank you very much for being here today. Let me show you my contact info just in case you want to get a hold of us. You can email me, borino@expiredplus.com. You can also call if you want to reach out, 800-573-8492. For those of you that are coming to DC, I'm looking forward to meeting you. It's always great to work in person. There is something that happens in that room in 2 days that cannot be substituted by anything else. So if you're coming, awesome. If you have anything else for me, let me know, shoot me an email. With that, my friends, thank you very much for joining me on this lovely, what is it, Monday, right? On this Monday. Hope things are going well for you. If there's anything I can do, anywhere I can help, reach out and let me know. This is your Coach Borino, signing off, wishing you a lovely afternoon. We'll talk really, really soon. As always, let's go get 'em. Thanks for being here. I'll talk to you real soon. Bye, everybody.